My student housing, the 18 unit, 51 bed apartment, 50 out of the students out of the 51 paid. Nothing really changed in this last month or 2 months. There's opportunity for us, but it's a different type of opportunity. It's an opportunity for land and land development. To be honest with you, I'd rather hold the money first, right? So for your viewers, hold your money first, okay? Just in case. Then if it comes down to, let's say, painting or things like that's not essential, you don't have to do it. Get rid of it.
What is up, YouTube? Matt McKeever here, and we're back with Kasey Wong. I've heard your demands. You guys want to know what's going on with Kasey and how is Kasey embracing or adapting to our current real estate market during COVID-19, quarantine, self-isolating, and social distancing. So in today's video, I catch up with Kasey, and actually, we even get a surprise guest. His wife joins us for a little bit, and we just discuss what's going on in the world of real estate, how their business is doing currently, whether they're suffering from rent strikers, and what they kind of see the future looking like. As well, they share some great tactical tips for us landlords. So if you're currently a landlord and you're struggling through these times, you definitely need to watch this video. What is up, YouTube? Matt McKeever here, and I've got Kasey Wong on the line with us. And so we're going to be talking today just about property management, business practices, and really how COVID-19, self-isolating, quarantine, and social distancing is impacting our business, and just kind of share with you some of the practices we're using to adjust to this new environment. Thanks, Kasey. Really appreciate you joining us.
No problem, Matt. No problem.
So what's going on? I guess even before we get into business practices and how landlords and investors can adapt, how's your business faring right now? I'm finding there's a lot of misinformation, a lot of assumptions, people jumping to conclusions about rent strikers, real estate's going to crash, So what's going on in Kasey's world?
Honestly, it's business as usual. We didn't really see that much of a difference from my previous months to now. So April 1st was actually almost the same as the other months. You can hear my phone beeping. Those are tenants, right? And you probably hear my kids playing in the background or hopefully doing their homework. But this whole COVID situation is seriously, I don't know if it's blown out of the hand or whatever. It's for us, didn't really change us significantly. We sent out letters saying that we'll work with them for rent payments, things like that. But yeah, definitely you work with the tenants, make sure that they have a payment plan, and just put that all on paper so that if you do have to go to the tribunal, you have some documentation. But overall, we collected almost all the rents. My student housing, let's start off with a quick little snapshot. My student housing, the 18 unit, 51 bed apartment, 50 out of the students out of the 51 paid. So one person actually moved out just for the fact that it was a bad situation. This person didn't want to pay. The boyfriend came back and choked me. I showed you that video. But that's probably management, right? But I actually like being involved in things like that. I don't know. My mind must be shot or something. Loose wire. And then my 65 unit, which consists of a 32 unit and a 33 unit, one in Preston, one in Galt. Almost everybody paid. Some of them, paid a little bit late, but essentially most of them paid. The people that didn't pay, we still have to document and do all that. What else? My Hyman building, everything's pretty good there. I think only one person didn't pay. Here's my little daughter. She's my assistant for the day. What else? Duke and Wellington near Google's head office. They essentially all paid. You work with the tenants, right? You call them. I texted them. I have their phone numbers, things like that. But that's what you do. So going back, property management, nothing really changed. Even my superintendents were still working. I'm still in contact with them. If it's an emergency, I still got the contractors in place. So most likely it's usually plumbers. Okay. Yeah. Electrical is not, usually not an emergency, but plumbers, all my plumbers, they're still working. My mechanical contractor is not an HVAC, but they're working as well. Those are my plumbers. Other than that, pretty much business as usual. So in the property management side, I don't necessarily have to go to the buildings. But I have my people in place. So you're calling them, you're texting them, you video getting pictures of, let's say I had a P-trap leaking or the faucet, things like that. So in the property management side, you're still doing the property management, right? You have to, because it's essential. Somebody's living there. So you always have your people in place. Like my roofer, there's a small little leak. Santos, bang, he went there, got it fixed. But then the ceiling obviously won't get fixed. Just dry it out. If there's an emergency, then yeah, we'll rip it down and do it. But other than that, you have your contractors in place. You have my AR team. So we have an accountant and an administrator. They're just working from home. So I went to the buildings. I picked up the checks at the building, and it was actually a lot thinner. But then it came in trips and drops. Like people would, drop it off, and then I would go there. So I went to the buildings about 2 or 3 times, and then I did a circle and then dropped off at the accountant's home. But that's on the property management side. But when you're taking a look at overall business, on let's say if I go month to month, statements to statements, right? Well, when Jen and I will take a look at who has paid, all essentially paid, right? So business side and property management side, you take a look at each individual sort of plates, which have you, is that I'm working with this plate right now. Property management is not bad. Let's move on to something else. You know what? The business side, the financing, like the money flowing in, it's going well, right? Maybe on the health side, what the media is talking about, that's something completely different, right? It will affect it, right? It could affect it. So you have to be cognizant of what's going to happen, right? This health care issue compared to like your finances, your business, it does intermingle. But you still have to control what you can control. My property management, I still have to control that, right? The financing side, as in people paying rent, and then the bank side, right? So we reached out to the bank side, saying that, hey, can we do interest only, right? So we're managing all that. So we as a business, we have to be able to manage different aspects. Like you're putting your hats on. You have different types of hats, like. It could be a property management hat. It could be a legal hat where I'm in the tribunal because I do all my legal stuff. If people for non-payment of rent, I deal with that. So being a landlord, it's difficult in a way that you're dealing with a whole spectrum of business, of dealing with different types of people. Some of them could be high end to like very educated people, like lawyers. Your investors, they could be doctors, they could be your accountants, things like that, real estate agents. And then you're dealing with sometimes people on, what I deal with is people on assistance, people on welfare, people on ODSP, and you have to empathize with them. You have to say, oh, I'm sorry, this is, I do feel for you and things like that. And then you work with them, right? So property management is not easy, right? And I have my shortfalls as well, okay, just like everybody else. You do too. I do.
Yeah.
Like I do. My wife, even my contractors, right? So you have to, if you have any kind of shortcomings, you have to make sure that you can get somebody else to help you, right?
So right now, Kasey, are you implementing any different business practices versus in the past? So, are you moving more to online payments or collecting rent in a different way, or is it just business as usual? Same with, I think you kind of hinted at it, but I'd love it for you to maybe just expand upon it. Are you being more proactive in your communication with tenants? I know for us, what we kind of did was 3 or 4 days before April 1st, just had our property manager reach out on a one-on-one basis, talk to every tenant just to figure out exactly where they were at so that we could start managing our expectations. I'd love to hear just, how you're kind of approaching all that.
We did the same thing. So we actually put notices on each building, just the front doors. We couldn't go door to door. At that time, it was a little bit crazy with the family and all. And then we couldn't physically get there and talk. So what you do is that you manage what you can. So if you're able to talk to your tenants face to face, that's great. Okay. So now you have, it opens up communication when you have the face to face conversation. That's the best way to do it. Then the next stage would be like just putting notices up, things like that. Tell them that, because they have everybody has my cell phone number. They can reach me by email, things like that. So what you have to do is that be open and be able to have that communication. So that's exactly what you did. I just had to scale it back because of the volume. Right.
Yeah. And so what are you seeing, I guess, on the other side of the business as far as, looking at acquisitions? Are you still aggressively looking
Yeah.
to acquire, or have you changed your metrics that you use when looking at properties? I'm sure everyone would love to hear kind of, what your perspective is and what sort of actions you're taking, or if your actions have changed.
We actually had a couple deals even before the COVID. So we were raising, we're getting the I guess the business uh, uh, sort of the strategy in place even before this. So we're not looking for any more deals right now, but there are some deals we're looking at. We might be going today to Guelph to take a look at a deal. It looks very, very good. So this is the time where you're going to be looking at opportunities if you have the cash, right? We are still raising money. We have probably half of it right now for the Vaughn deal right now. But we are looking at raising more money to close this deal. But
Cashflow Tribe. Hey YouTube, have you checked out Cashflow Tribe yet? It doesn't matter whether you're an experienced, seasoned investor or brand new to the game. I can probably predict if you're currently not having the level of success you want as a real estate investor, it's due to one thing. That one thing is you're not making enough offers, plain and simple. You need to be making more offers as a real estate investor if you want to hit those big, audacious goals that you're setting for yourself. So here's the deal. Cashflow Tribe, that's the community that myself and Ben were making together. And so Ben's actually so busy trying to provide value to you guys that he had to take off there. But here's the deal. Cashflow Tribe is really a one-of-a-kind community focused on results. That's the difference between us and everyone else. We want to get you guys those results. I'm tired of seeing people commenting on my YouTube channel for 2-3 years now, but they're not making offers. What's holding you back? I'm going to guess that it's either a lack of confidence or a lack of competence. And we cover both of those things in Cashflow Tribe. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make you guys a 14-day free trial offer. You can join Cashflow Tribe completely free, get it tested out. If you like it, great, stay and pay. If you don't, well, I hope you at least find one great idea that you can take away and use to start making more offers, gain more deals, and finally start making the money related to real estate investing that's probably why you're watching my YouTube channel. So let's do this, guys. Let's make 2020 your year. Cashflow Tribe.
This is the time where you're going to be looking at opportunities if you have the cash, right? We are still raising money. We have probably half of it right now for the Vaughn deal right now. But we are looking at raising more money to close this deal. But what you're trying to look for is you're trying to look for deals, right?
Yeah.
Anytime you can get it, it's great.
I think going forward, what you're seeing with, say, like financing or acquisitions, things of that nature,
Right.
in the multifamily segment that you guys really invest in, are you expecting to see a lot of weakness in pricing, or do you think that we'll just see a reduction in transactions, or do you think it'll be business as usual?
I honestly, that's a question for Jed. We've seen some of the land come available,
Yeah.
and that's what we're looking into right now. Some of the multifamily, honestly, it didn't come across my desk, so I'm not sure for what Jed was looking at. But what I'm guessing is that there wasn't a lot of activity in the last month. Most landlords, they can pretty much hold what they're holding now. I don't think a lot of these larger landlords, property management companies, are going to be selling at this time. If they get the rent, why would they sell, right? I wouldn't be selling my 65 unit building. Like, why? Rents are coming in. There's no fire sale for us as owners. So I don't we actually didn't see any kind of opportunity. So number one is that a lot of stuff didn't come out across our desk for a quick fire sale. And the question is that why would it anyways? Like, rent, right? Number two is that what type of opportunities are there right now that came across our desk right now? This is what is April 23rd, right? So something on like a land deal almost completed, and that person is strapped for cash. We can build. So we have a developer with us, partnering up with us. So that's an opportunity that we can get really good number one is the price. Financing was in place as well, because everything sort of is there. The only person that couldn't do this work is actually the potential buyer. So we want to jump in and get that done, or try to get this deal. On the multifamily space, we didn't see any kind of downturn. So there's no like, oh, it's coming down and I'm really worried. No, I don't think it's there. If you guys see it, if any of your viewers or listeners see it, take advantage of it, right? Some people do want to get out. Sometimes they're in a financial turmoil where they're right in that situation where they need their money, right? And you're actually helping them out. So even when I sold my 10plex on Chapel Street in Kitchener, because I had a 65 unit, it was not COVID situation, but I want to buy that 65 unit or I'll lose my deposit, my 300,000. I quickly did a fire sale. Like I sold it for, I think it was 850,000. That's 85,000 per unit for 10plex, right? That was just 3 years ago. But I was upgrading. So I'm upgrading from a 10 to a 65 unit. It makes sense to me, right? Yeah. So if you're in this situation, number two is that if you're in this situation and you can see this, this landlord, and he wants to sell it for whatever reason, then most likely it's not the COVID situation. It's another situation that he wants to sell, and you're helping him out to buy it. Take advantage of it, because it's a win-win. It's a win for him probably, because he needs the cash for you. But yeah, business, like our platform, our real hasn't really changed, right? We don't get it. I'm not multifamily is not like a restaurant where, like, sorry to hear that restaurants that's going under because people are not going in. Our business model hasn't really changed. People are still living there. They haven't said, okay, you know what, I'm gonna go tent in the backyard somewhere, or right? They're not doing that. They're still living there. They still have to. They still need a place to stay, and they still need food, but it's essential for the people to have a home. So going back, yes, it's nothing really changed in this last month or 2 months. There's opportunity for us, but it's a different type of opportunity. It's an opportunity for land and land development. Hopefully that makes sense.
No, that was great. And I'd love to circle back a little bit to liquidity. So you mentioned that you guys, are negotiating with some of your lenders in regards to, can we do interest only payments?
Yes.
Are there any other things that you're implementing right now? Did you guys consider or look at doing mortgage deferrals? And do you have any general thoughts in general for investors, whether they should, always take advantage of it, sometimes take advantage, or never take advantage of, the sort of options being presented?
Always, everybody's business model is going to be different. I like to hold a little bit more cash. I'm actually very risk averse. Okay. Jed's actually very, she likes taking the risk. So she's a risk taker. She takes a look at the deals. But the thing is that whatever situation you're in, you have to manage that cash flow. Okay. That's crucial. All right. So if you're not able to make your mortgage payments, your utility bills, property tax, things like that, you have to be mindful 3-4 months of, hey, if you're not able to pay 3-4 months, do you have that saved? So if you don't have that saved, make sure you start saving for that, and then take advantage of those government assistance. If you can do it. So we're doing it. We did interest only. I'm not sure what Jed is doing. I think it's interest only for our BMO, our Bank of Montreal mortgages. So we're doing that just in case, because we want to hold a little bit more cash. Majority of the tenants did, but it's just in case. Hey, what happens is May, June, July, and half payments, and then the quarter payment in July and 0 payments in August, right? Are you able to weather that risk? So take a look at your finances, right? So Jed and I, we talked about is everything okay? Do we need to do this? I said, let's just do interest only, just for now, okay? Once we get back on track, once they lift this whole COVID like isolation thing off, then we can go back to regular payments and go back to your bank and say, hey, let's pay all this back right away, right? But to be honest with you, I'd rather hold the money first, right? So for your viewers, hold your money first, okay? Just in case, all right? Only the essentials will go out. So you're paying your contractors that are necessary, like your plumbers, your mechanical contractors, things like that. But then if it comes down to, let's say, painting or things like that's not essential, you don't have to do it. Get rid of it, right? So manage your cash flow. Definitely manage your cash flow. My kids are playing hide and seek.
No worries. And yeah, that's great advice. I think really focusing on liquidity and making sure you're protecting yourself and your investments. It feels like, kind of my opinion on it is, this is the time to make sure you put your oxygen mask on first, which I think that means things like mortgage deferrals or interest only payments. If your lender's willing to do that, I think it's very wise to at least understand exactly what that looks like, and whether you choose to implement it today or wait a little bit until you know what's going to happen going forward. But be ready to pull the trigger on that if you haven't done so already.
That's right.
Thanks again to Kasey and Jed for taking the time to jump on my channel and just discuss with us their perspective and experience currently going through the uncertainty that is our current real estate market. If you guys got value from this video, make sure you smash that like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video.